Grew up playing racing games and watching anything that had to do with cars, and like specifically Japanese cars I was super drawn to. So Wangan Midnight was like huge. I was like, that's the car. The S30, the Devil Z, like that's what I want. The whole idea behind the build was like, I wanted to do as period correct as I could to like 70s, like JCCA racing as I could have. And then I'm like, I want it to look cool. So I was like, I can make it look like those cars would have been. It'll match what the performance kind of idea is that I'm going behind it. I took a picture of it one day and started like messing around with it on Photoshop. And that's what I came up with. There's no stock suspension components at all on the car anymore. It's all Techno Toy tuning for the most part. BC coilovers, which are probably going to be replaced at some point soon. I'm going to go full Techno Toys setup because they make the whole assembly. Interior is a full new dash skin by Vintage Dashes, which is cool because you use your stock like skeleton from your old dashboard, and it's just a new foam piece. In that, I plopped in a whole bunch of Speed Hut gauges that I made specifically for the car. I went like onto their site and did all the customized stuff that's there, which is cool. This past winter was the engine swap for the RB25 DET Neo engine and trans, both out of the R34 Skyline GTT, like a step down from the GTR. The 26s are so expensive. You have to do a lot more work to get them to like fit and work properly in here. The twin turbo setup is like too wide. I still have to get it out onto the Glen at some point. I had it out there a handful of times when I had the L26 in it, but I haven't been able to get it out there yet since I did the swap, and I'd really like to see what the difference in performance is.
There it is. We'll be back. These mirrors are so weird.
Oh my god, they are.
I keep looking here and there's nothing.
So yes, for those of you who didn't see in the rollers, he's got fender mounted mirrors, which look so cool. Something that's very different with this car that I've never driven is we are so far back.
Yeah, the nose is like a mile long.
Our butts are like over the rear wheels.
This is just solidifying the fact that I want one of these.
What about the steering? There's no play at all.
It's tight.
There's something about these old Japanese cars, they got the steering right. There's not that much play in that. Unlike old American cars from the same era. They're just so sloppy.
Yeah. It does wander a little bit, but like it's responsive to your inputs. It's so quiet. And that's not full throttle. I'm playing nice. I don't know how it's going to react. So these seats are very comfortable.
These seats are great.
Very, very impressed. It's not often you find racing seats that are comfortable. Like I would be comfortable driving these for a long amount of time.
Yeah, same.
Could be louder.
It definitely could be louder, but it hits all the right noises.
Yeah.
It's got everything that you had in Gran Turismo as a kid, that you wanted in your old Japanese sports car.
Yes. And the seating position, like you'll feel it when you're in the driver's seat, is very like, your feet are very high, and for some reason it just fits well. Like arm out the window, cars and coffee, cruise cars and coffee in this thing, down to Carlisle like he does every year.
Break a bunch of necks like he does every year.
Yeah, this thing, it looks good moving, it looks good stationary.
Yeah.
took like a quick picture of it in the garage and posted on Instagram, and it looks fantastic. I put 0 time into the picture.
Yeah. See Exhibit A.
Broke 2 bikers' necks.
The gauges too, they're in the perfect spot from the factory. I feel like so many cars have replicated this based off of these old Zs.
I love it. Oh my god. I was afraid of driving this, that it was going to be like a meet your hero moment.
Yeah.
And like it was going to be awful. I just want one even more now. That's it. That's all we got. It's not one of those cars that just looks good.
Yeah.
It is. It's great. It's amazing.
Change.
Yep.
Try to finish this out before it gets too much darker.
The door handles are so low.
The steering wheel's like in your lap.
Yeah, but it feels right. It feels old school.
Here we go.
It's just right.
It is just
There's
right.
no other way to explain it.
It is just right. You are so far, like I'm in full recliner mode.
Yes.
Like I feel like I'm in anti-gravity seat right now. Just
But your feet are up, like and I love, I don't know if you can see it on either camera, that there's no
there's
triangle window.
there's nothing here.
It's just open. So much openness, and like visibility's great. The brakes are good.
The brakes are great. It's definitely not set up for someone my size.
Yeah, it fits me very well, which makes me very happy. I was afraid that these cars being from the 70s were going to be very small.
Yeah.
And it fits me great.
It's not that small. Like I'm really kind of having a reach.
I like to turn the heat on. I had to like lean forward. Yeah.
It's not necessarily lazy, but it feels almost like the engine's not working.
Yeah, yeah. Not like, you know, the K or the BP, you're ringing it out and it's like screaming for help. This thing's like, oh yeah, okay.
This is just, like whatever, man.
So it makes whatever the gentleman's agreement was back in Japan, so 260-ish, 300.
Yeah. And it feels good at this power level.
Yeah.
Like, but I will say this, the chassis could definitely take more.
Oh yeah.
Like it does not feel.
It's not scary.
Yes, at any point.
Yes.
Nate, you've built a hell of a car, and thank you so much.
Yes.
For letting us drive. I don't want to overstate this and say this too much. This is definitely an iconic car for Rochester.
Yes. Yeah.
You're
Everybody.
local, you know this car.
Everybody knows this car.
And Nate, super awesome. Thank you so much for letting us drive this car. But anyway, we've got more reviews coming our way. Potentially some track time
Monday.
And as always, stay tuned and thanks for watching. Hopefully we're not in the dark right now.
Yeah.